folks, so today we're looking at Star Trek The Next Generation from Williams, and this will be the kind of usual 10 minutes with treatment that I've been giving games in my game room. One slight addendum, I guess, to this one, though, is that I think this is the one pinball machine I currently have in my game room where I could see myself selling it at some point, so you may end up seeing this video attached to an ad at some point. And typically my point of making these isn't to sell things, but it kind of hits both purposes for me. Helps me to fill out the blog content that I've been wanting to do for a while, and then also doubles as documenting machine condition and that kind of stuff. So this machine was made in '93. I think actually this one might have been made in '94, but the title was released in '93. Steve Ritchie. They made a good number of them. I don't know the number offhand, but it's a wide body, so it's kind of the cousin to Indiana Jones. I guess it came out before, in '93, and I don't know. So there's a lot to it here, and you've got like this. Let me flip this light off so that I can cut down some of that glare. Okay. So we've got this habit trail coming out of the plunge, and this really kind of innovative, trip that the ball makes around this circle and then shoots it up into the orbit, which also doubles as a lock mechanism underneath this Borg ship. You've got an alternate lock that's through this delta quadrant ramp, very similar to the stern one, and a little different in that the center toy isn't the spring-loaded, attack from Mars saucer that the stern Star Trek has, but it's this static ship with two a launch port at the top where it can launch a ball at you, and then a side lock in off of the left, and then it's the scoop beneath actually acts like the mode start for the game and also attacks that ship. So it's a little different. Where the stern one uses a magnetic hold for the ship interaction, this one is an alternate entry through the delta quadrant ramp into the back of the ship, and then it can launch at you from there. I think something I've heard or read that I believe is true is that Williams actually had a patent, or at least some sort of intellectual property related to the subway system on this title. So the idea is that when a ball goes into one of the scoops, there's a subway diverter system like a lot of pins have, and their patent involved staging the pinballs in the appropriate other scoops for at the up kickers, so that if you dropped a ball in the subway system, you didn't have to wait for that ball to traverse the subway system to come back into play. So you clunk, it goes in, and then immediately blop, it's out again. So it's just a way of making the gameplay smoother. These games were known for, I guess, two negative things. One was maintenance. They have 18, 20 something optos. So you got the little optical sensors, like the old barbershop, entry in the door. There's some of these cannons. So if the cannons in particular, if the little plunger that shoots the ball out gets stuck, then it'll continue to break the beam, and then the thing thinks there's a ball there, and it continues to sweep back and forth. So cannon maintenance is important. Opto maintenance in general is important. Of course, it's got a bunch of optos throughout the subway system to help the game code understand where the balls are and help them to tally them. So kind of essential maintenance on it is to clean the optos and keep them maintained, then also to periodically clean and maintain the cannons. And so that's something I am pretty diligent about, but not everybody is, so whatever. The other thing, I guess, in the negative for this title is that it's known for being an outlane drainer. So I think there's the joke of Star Trek The Next Outlane, and you've got a lot of kind of heavy waterfall geometry into the outlanes on the left and on the right. The left has a kickback, so often people just enable it in code all the time, or as an objective they alight it immediately. And on the right, there's not really the same thing. You don't have a kickback, but you just have an outlane to contend with. So some people see that as a negative. For me, it did in the 3-4 years I've owned one of these pins, it's helped me to learn to try to preempt the outlanes and play out of them. but I can see where that could be frustrating to new players. I don't know, I think that's a pretty good overview of the game. I did some mods on it. I mean, like I did like this, like there's a board cube mod, and then there's actually one for the ship as well, but I didn't replace it because I kind of like the original ship. Now I think it's normally like beige, and this one's been custom painted, but I do have that mod somewhere around here, and yeah, I put coin taker LEDs, a couple comets as well, depending on where it was, and then I used the LED OCD boards, or is it OCD LED? However, whichever, you know what I'm talking about. That kind of tries to smooth out insert animations. The general rule of thumb there is that if the game has GI animations, so like candle effects or fades like Tales of the Arabian Nights, Scared Stiff, others, then you want to do the GI OCD board to smooth the stepping in those, and then pretty much any game can benefit from the insert animations from the LED OCD. Downside is if you ever do want to introduce an incandescent back into the system, you really can't do that with those, but I don't. So put the pinball life lit flipper buttons, and then I had Chris Royalty Pinball Plating redo the shooter handle, and then I think when I got the game it didn't have legs at all, so it has brand new legs, and then put leg protectors and whatever on it. But yeah, that's about it. Other than that, it's pretty much stock. Just color DMD and the usual things you do to them. And I don't know. It's probably a pretty good stopping point. So what I'll do is put the camera on the tripod and try to not be completely terrible for a match and show gameplay. And then I'm sure that'll use up our 10 minutes or close enough to it. I'll post this up. And then, like I said, I think this one I may end up selling, so if you see this out in the, apologies if you see it attached to an ad. Normally my, purpose for doing these is just for like posterity and to fill out my own kind of like collection history, on the blog. But in this case, it also might double to show somebody the condition of the game so that they can know what they're getting if they're interested. Anyway, yep. So we'll do some gameplay now.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the Starship Enterprise. Its continuing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new life and new civilizations, to boldly go where no one has gone before.
Really cool light shows for the era, especially considering what they had to work with. Nice blend of flashers and insert walks, and I don't know. But so to get started, kind of general shot map here. To the left, of course, we've got an orbit. We've got our cannons here in the front that rotate in to shoot things. Walking from left to right, there's the neutral zone, and then there's another kind of scoop, or like a saucer scoop behind next to it. Then there is the Alpha Quadrant ramp, which is just underneath the Borg ship, towards the left-ish, towards the right side of the Borg ship. The center right of the Borg ship is the mode start, so the start mission. Then over to the right, we've got our Beta Quadrant, and then the Delta Quadrant is actually over to the left, but I didn't cover it because you hit it from the right. Typically, I don't think there's any other way to get to it, so you would hit an orbit and then whack it off the upper right flipper to get up in there. And then it can there's a diverter at the top, so you can either return the ball into the right flipper or lock it into the Borg ship if Borg lock is active. And that's pretty much it. Then, of course, our objective map here in the middle. You can work through each mode to get to the final frontier multi-ball, and it's just crazy madness. And then, of course, there's locks off of the right orbit for the Borg battle.
Welcome to the Enterprise.
This selection isn't like really a skill shot. Like, there is a skill shot, but it's more like picking a feature.
Enter Federation space. Intercept.
Core cruising at warp factor engine.
personnel. Dilithium crystals have been collected.
Tight, it could get rough. Steady as she goes. What is our exact location? Unknown, Captain. Suggestions. We can destroy the asteroids in our path. Make it so. Evasive maneuvers. Beyond belief.
Congratulations. Dilithium have been collected.
Brilliant.
Unsensed.
Sir, a strange object is dead ahead. On screen. Sensors are picking up a Romulan movement. Congratulations, Lieutenant.
Initiate simulation.
Extra ball. Fire all weapons.
Simulation. Shoot again.
Bonjour, mon capitaine. Q, what are you doing here? Let's play a little game. Q, we don't have time for your game. Congratulations. The tic-tac is ready. Sensors are picking up a Romulan warbird in the neutral zone. Sensors are picking up a distortion in the space-time continuum.
this one.
Sensors are picking up a Romulan warbird in the neutral zone. Hailing us on screen. We are conducting military exercises. It would be wise to change course immediately. Fire a warning shot. Send to Starfleet. We have engaged the Bold. Battle stations. Fire when ready. All hands prepare for multi-ball. Jackpot. You will be assailed. Super jackpot. Jackpot. Damage to the shield, sir. The shield. Jackpot. Super jackpot. Damage to the shield, sir. Jackpot. Super jackpot. The shields are at 50%. Jackpot. Damage report. Super jackpot.
Captain, we have heavy casualties on all decks.
Jackpot. Set coordinates for the Alpha Quadrant.
Trying to, Wrecker. Nope. Nope. Keep missing.
Alpha Quadrant. Fantastic. Set coordinates for the Beta Quadrant. Good luck. The final frontier.
Well, so that's the spastic Final Frontier. It's fun. It's super fun. It's just
Shoot again.
it's crazy. All right, last ball.
Sensors are picking up a Cardass-feeling weapon.
So hidden Riker poker mode, which is pretty cool. Forget if it's ones I'm keeping or discarding. I actually don't remember. I was
Better luck next time.
wrong. It was keep. Anyway, you get the point. Someone doesn't play a lot of video poker, apparently. Yuck. Well, still a good game.
Player. Captain's log supplement.
So, yeah, that's Star Trek Next Gen.
Rest.
I know we ran over 10 minutes, but at least you got to go through and see the modes. You know, really cool pin. I just, you know, had him for a bit and kind of looking on to see what's next in my collection. So, I think, like I mentioned earlier, of all my pins, this one might end up going at some point in a trade or something, but I don't know, it's got a lot going for it. So, well, thanks for watching, and you know, whenever I post this, if you've got questions or if I can help you at all, hit me up in comments or reach out to me on the site and help you if I can. Thanks.